speaking of the Sunday ticket case, I thought it was funny that so many people got swept up in the criticism that the judge directed to the lawyers representing the plaintiffs on Tuesday. And it caused people to think, hey, this guy's got his finger on the trigger. This guy's ready to blow the plaintiff's case out of the water. Oh, he's talking about a Rule 50. Nobody knows what Rule 50 is, but it sure sounds good. Hey, he might do a Rule 50. You hear? There might be a Rule 50 in the Sunday ticket case. Rule 50 refers to the rules of civil procedure, which are basically the guidebook for all cases in the federal system. Rule 50 gives the judge the power to grant judgment as a matter of law at any time to the defendant. And there's still a chance that after the verdict is rendered, if it's against the NFL, the judge could enter what's called a judgment notwithstanding the verdict. That's possible. I don't think before we get to the jury verdict, the judge is going to throw the case out. I mean, that was a big deal on Tuesday. Wednesday, court wasn't in session. Thursday, the court was back in session. There was no more peep about whether or not the judge was going to throw out the case. Testimony continues on Monday. At that point, once the current witness who's on the stand exits, the NFL's case is expected to be over. If the plaintiff has rebuttal testimony, there'll be a few more witnesses called. A lot of times there's no rebuttal. Once all the evidence is in, jury instructions, closing arguments, a verdict. It could be next week. And then the judge could, after the verdict, enter judgment as a matter of law in favor of the NFL. But the most important thing to remember is the verdict is coming. And when the verdict comes, if it's against the NFL, remember that the judge can still take it away or modify it. There'll be an appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. And if the NFL loses there, there'll be an attempt to get the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. At least 4 of the 9 justices have to agree to take the case, and only 100 to 150 out of more than 7,000 petitions are accepted every year by the Supreme Court. At least 4 have to agree to take it. They're determining their workload. That's another great gig to have, too. You've got a job for life with apparently no ethics rules. You can take whatever gifts you want from anyone whose business interests may be directly or indirectly affected by the court. That's a pretty good deal if you can get it. And you get to decide how busy you're going to be. If you just don't want to work very hard this year, we don't want any of these cases. We're only going to take 50 cases this year. I want to have an easy year. Let's go 25 cases this year. So first you got to get in if you're the NFL. Then you got to get 5 of the 9 justices. But without being political, the reality is the current composition of the Supreme Court favors the NFL, especially since one of the justices has a Super Bowl ring that was given to him by Jerry Jones. And based upon the other things this justice has received, Clarence Thomas, and the reporting on it, and the fact that it hasn't deterred him in the least, will it cause him to recuse himself from consideration of this NFL-related case if and when it makes its way to the U.S. Supreme Court? Then it'll go to 8. Even then, current composition of the court points to 5-3. Although, what's the guy's name? Brett Kavanaugh. He had, in one of the NCAA cases, the one that really sparked the NIL craze 3 years ago, his dissenting opinion did not fit the normal mold of protect the institutions that you see from judges who are appointed to the bench by Republican presidents. And folks, I know some of you don't want to hear this, but that's the way it goes. Republican presidents who have the power to appoint every federal judge when there's a vacancy during that president's term, far more likely to appoint judges who will be pro-business. Democratic presidents, far more likely to appoint judges who will be pro-individual. So in a fight of 2.5 million individuals and small businesses against the NFL, the current composition of the court, which kind of is 6-3 in favor of Republican causes. And I know that a lot of you, and I don't care whether you vote Republican or Democrat, but a lot of the people who vote Republican get caught up in issues unrelated to, hey, I might need to go to court someday. Am I going to get a fair shake? And maybe you'll never have to, right? Maybe it's like buying the extended warranty on a new computer. Like, I never buy any of the extended warranties because I figure all the money I save, I'll be able to cover myself if and when something that I buy goes bad. it's too remote for me. I'm not going to worry about that. And I think that's what happens. I'm not worried about that. I'll worry about having a case in court when I have a case in court. But that's the reality. It's the reality. A lot of these individuals who are voting a certain way are going to have the door to justice slammed in their face if they ever need to pursue it. And again, that's just a fact. It's not a political observation. It is an absolute 100% based upon 20 years of practicing law fact. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.